am commanding you, yes, you, to open this message as if your life depends on it, because in ways you do not yet understand, it does. Do not scroll past this moment. Do not delay. Do not treat this as just another message in a sea of noise. This is not noise, this is a call. This is a divine interruption. This is the moment God has chosen to reach into your life and shake you awake. Right now, in this very second, something within you is stirring, something deeper than emotion, something stronger than coincidence. That feeling is not random. That urgency is not accidental. God is calling you, and He is not whispering, He is commanding. You have wandered long enough. You have questioned long enough. You have doubted, hesitated, postponed, and told yourself that tomorrow will be the day you change. But tomorrow has become a hiding place for your fear. Tomorrow has become an excuse for your delay. And God is not a God of delay. He is a God of action, a God of power, a God of purpose. When He speaks, He does not speak for entertainment. He speaks to transform, to awaken, to command. And today, He is commanding you to listen. There is something you must understand. You are not here by accident. Your struggles are not meaningless. Your pain has not been wasted. Every tear you have shed, every night you thought no one saw you, every moment you felt forgotten, God saw it all. He counted it all. He allowed it for a reason far greater than your current understanding. You thought you were breaking, but in truth, you were being shaped. You thought you were losing, but in truth, you were being prepared. God was not absent. He was working in silence, building something within you that the world cannot take away. But now the time for silence is over. Now the time for waiting is over. Now the time for excuses is over. God is calling you into a new level of awareness, a new level of faith, a new level of obedience. And let me be clear, this is not optional. When God calls, it is not a suggestion. It is a command. You have been living beneath your calling. You have been settling for less than what God created you to be. You have allowed fear to dictate your decisions. You have allowed doubt to silence your voice. You have allowed the opinions of people to outweigh the truth of God. But today that ends. Today, God is breaking every chain that has kept you small. Today, He is tearing down every lie you have believed about yourself. Today, He is reminding you of who you are in His sight. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are not a failure. You are chosen. You are called. You are equipped by God Himself. And when God equips you, no force in this world can defeat you unless you surrender to fear. Do you understand what that means? It means the greatest battle you face is not outside of you, it is within you. It is the battle between faith and doubt. It is the battle between obedience and hesitation. It is the battle between trusting God and trusting your fear. And God is saying to you right now, choose. Choose faith. Choose obedience. Choose to rise. You have been waiting for a sign, but this is the sign. You have been waiting for a voice, but this is the voice. You have been waiting for confirmation, but this is your confirmation. God is not going to repeat Himself endlessly while you remain unmoved. When He speaks, He expects a response, and your response will determine the direction of your life. Do not underestimate this moment. There are moments in life that define everything that follows. Moments where a single decision changes your entire destiny. This is one of those moments. Right now, you are standing at a crossroads. One path leads back to the same patterns, the same struggles, the same regrets. The other path leads to transformation, purpose, and a life aligned with God's will. And the difference between those two paths is not talent, not luck, not circumstance, it is obedience. God is not asking you if you feel ready. He is commanding you to move. He is not asking if it is convenient. He is commanding you to act, because He knows something you do not yet see. He knows what is waiting for you on the other side of your obedience. There is a breakthrough with your name on it. There is a purpose that only you can fulfill. There is a level of peace, strength, and clarity that you have not yet experienced. But it will not come to you while you remain still in fear. It will not come while you keep postponing what God has already told you to do. It will only come when you step forward in faith, even when you do not understand everything. You keep saying, "What if I fail?" But God is asking you, "What if you succeed?" You keep saying, "What if it doesn't work?" But God is asking you, "What if this is exactly what I have prepared for you?" You keep looking at your limitations, but God is looking at your potential, and His vision for you is greater than your fear. You must stop measuring your life by what you see right now. You must start seeing through the eyes of faith. Because what you see is temporary, but what God has planned is eternal. What you feel is temporary, but what God has spoken over your life is permanent. Do you hear this? This is not a casual message. This is not a gentle suggestion. This is a divine command. Rise up, break free, move forward. Trust God. You have spent too much time doubting yourself. You have spent too much time questioning whether you are capable. Let me tell you something with absolute certainty. If God has placed something in your heart, it is because He has already given you the ability to carry it out. God does not make mistakes. He does not assign purpose randomly. If He has chosen you, it is because you are the right person for the task. But you must act. You must move. You must respond. Faith is not passive. Faith is not waiting endlessly for the perfect moment. Faith is stepping forward even when the path is unclear. Faith is trusting God even when your mind is filled with questions. Faith is obeying even when your emotions are resisting. And right now, God is testing your faith, not to harm you, but to elevate you. Not to break you, but to strengthen you. He is watching to see if you will trust Him enough to move when He commands. Do not miss this moment. Do not let fear rob you of what God has prepared. Do not let doubt silence the voice of purpose within you. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you believe. And with God guiding you, there is nothing that can stand against you. So stand up, stand firm, and step into what God is calling you to do. Do not sit there as if this is just inspiration. This is instruction. God is not speaking to entertain your emotions. He is speaking to awaken your spirit and move your life into alignment with His will. There is a weight to what you are hearing, a seriousness that you must not ignore. Because when God sends a message with urgency, it is because there is something ahead that requires your readiness. And readiness does not come from comfort, it comes from obedience. You have been asking God for clarity, but He has already given you direction. The problem is not that God is silent. The problem is that you have been hesitant. You have been waiting for everything to make perfect sense before you move, but God does not operate according to your need for complete understanding. He operates according to His wisdom, His timing, and His purpose. And His purpose for your life does not require your full comprehension, it requires your trust. Understand this deeply. Your hesitation is costing you more than you realize. Every time you delay what God has placed in your heart, you are not just pausing progress, you are resisting alignment. You are holding yourself back from a life that is meant to expand, to grow, to impact, and to fulfill a purpose far greater than your current reality. And God, in His mercy, is still calling you, still reaching for you, still giving you another chance to respond. But this is not something you can keep postponing. There comes a moment when delay becomes disobedience. There comes a moment when silence becomes rejection, and you are being warned in love. Do not let this be the moment you ignore the call. God has placed within you a responsibility, not just a desire. That idea, that burden, that vision that keeps returning to your mind, it is not random. It is assigned. It is intentional. It is yours to carry. And if you continue to ignore it, you will feel a restlessness that no distraction can satisfy. Because when God places purpose inside you, nothing else will ever feel enough until you respond to it. You have tried to fill that space with other things. You have tried to silence that calling with comfort, with routine, with temporary pleasures, with distractions that keep your mind busy but leave your soul empty. And yet the feeling remains, that quiet pull, that inner voice, that persistent reminder that you are meant for something more. That is not confusion, that is clarity from God. And now God is making it louder. He is removing the excuses one by one. He is exposing the fears that have been controlling you. He is showing you that the things you thought were holding you back were never stronger than His power. You said you didn't have enough strength, but God is your strength. You said you didn't have enough resources, but God is your provider. You said you didn't know the way, but God is your guide. So what remains? What excuse is left when God Himself is with you? This is where your transformation begins, not when everything changes around you, but when something shifts within you. When you stop negotiating with fear. When you stop making agreements with doubt. When you stop seeking permission from people who cannot see what God has shown you. And when you finally say, with conviction, if God has commanded it, I will obey. That decision right there is the turning point of your life. Because obedience unlocks what effort alone cannot. Obedience opens doors that force cannot break. Obedience positions you in places where blessings flow not because you chased them, but because you aligned yourself with the will of God. And when you are aligned with God, you are no longer striving in confusion. You are walking in purpose. But do not misunderstand this path. It will require courage. It will require sacrifice. It will require you to let go of things that feel familiar but are no longer meant for you. There are habits you must break. There are environments you must leave. There are voices you must stop listening to. Not because they are always evil, but because they are not aligned with where God is taking you. Growth demands separation. Elevation demands discipline, and purpose demands focus. You cannot step into a new life while holding on to an old mindset. You cannot expect different results while continuing the same patterns. God is not just calling you to do something new. He is calling you to become someone new, someone stronger, someone more disciplined, someone more focused, someone who trusts Him fully, not partially. And that transformation begins with your thoughts. What you believe about yourself matters. What you repeat in your mind matters. If you keep telling yourself that you are not enough, you will act like it. If you keep telling yourself that you will fail, You will hesitate. But if you begin to align your thoughts with truth, that God has created you with purpose, that He has equipped you with what you need, that He is guiding your steps, then your actions will begin to reflect that belief. Your life will always move in the direction of your strongest belief. So the question is, what are you choosing to believe? God is calling you higher, higher than your excuses, higher than your fears, higher than your past mistakes. And yes, you have made mistakes. Yes, there are things you regret. Yes, there are moments you wish you could change. But hear this clearly. Your past does not disqualify you when God has already chosen you. God is not limited by your history. He is not restricted by your failures. He is not surprised by your weaknesses. He knew all of it before you even existed, and still, He placed purpose inside you. Still, He allowed you to reach this moment. Still, He is calling you forward. So stop looking backward. Stop replaying what went wrong. Stop holding on to guilt that God has already given you the strength to release. Stop defining yourself by moments that were never meant to define your entire life. You are not your worst day. You are not your biggest mistake. You are a creation of God with a purpose that is still alive, still waiting, still possible. And that purpose requires action. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when everything becomes easy. Now, because delay is the enemy of destiny, and God did not bring you this far to leave you standing still. There is a shift happening, even now. You may not see it fully, but something is changing. Something is aligning. Something is preparing you for what is next. And your responsibility is not to understand every detail. Your responsibility is to trust and move. Take the step. Speak the truth. Make the decision. Break the pattern. Start the journey. And as you do, you will begin to see something powerful unfold. Doors will begin to open. Strength will begin to rise within you. Clarity will begin to replace confusion. Not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because you are no longer walking alone. You are walking with God in alignment with His will. And when God is with you, even the impossible begins to shift. Mountains that once looked unmovable begin to break. Obstacles that once seemed permanent begin to fade. Fear that once controlled you begins to lose its power. Because fear cannot survive in the presence of faith. And faith grows stronger every time you choose obedience. So do not shrink back. Do not return to comfort. Do not silence this moment. You were not created to live a small life. You were not created to hide from your calling. You were not created to exist without purpose. God has placed something within you that the world needs. Something that must be expressed, something that must be fulfilled. And that is why this message found you. Not by accident, not by chance, but by design. Because God knew there would come a moment when you needed to be reminded, when you needed to be awakened, when you needed to be commanded to rise. And that moment is now. There is something you must confront within yourself right now, something you have avoided for too long. It is not your circumstances that have held you back. It is the agreement you made with limitation. Somewhere along the journey, you accepted a smaller version of your life. You settled into patterns that felt safe, but were never meant to sustain you. You lowered your expectations, not because God lowered His promise, but because fear slowly convinced you to expect less. And now God is breaking that agreement. He is calling you out of every mindset that has kept you confined, every thought that has kept you bound, every belief that has kept you from rising into what He has already written for your life. God does not create a purpose only to leave it unfulfilled. He does not place vision inside you as a form of torment. If He allowed you to see it, if He allowed you to feel it, if He allowed it to take root in your heart, then it is because it is meant to come to life through you. But vision without action becomes frustration. Calling without obedience becomes heaviness. And that weight you have been carrying, that inner pressure, that feeling that something is missing, is not confusion. It is the tension between what you are doing and what you are called to do. And God, in His mercy, is not allowing you to stay comfortable in that tension anymore. He is increasing your awareness. He is making it harder for you to ignore what you once could silence. He is removing your satisfaction with things that used to distract you. You may have noticed this already. Things that once made you feel content now feel empty. Places that once felt familiar now feel restrictive. Conversations that once entertained you now feel meaningless. That is not loss, that is elevation. God is shifting your appetite. He is refining your focus. He is preparing you for a life that cannot be sustained by what used to satisfy you. Do not resist this change. Many people turn back at this stage because growth feels uncomfortable. They try to return to old habits, old environments, old ways of thinking, but it no longer fits. And instead of moving forward, they stay stuck between who they were and who they are meant to become. But you cannot afford to remain in that place. You must keep moving. You must keep responding. You must allow God to complete what He has started within you. Because what God is building in you is not temporary, it is foundational. He is strengthening your character so that your future does not collapse under pressure. He is sharpening your discernment so that you are not easily misled. He is teaching you discipline so that you can handle what you once prayed for. Because understand this clearly, many people ask God for increase, but they are not prepared to manage it. They ask for opportunity, but they lack the structure to sustain it. They ask for influence, but they do not have the integrity to protect it. God is not just interested in giving you more, He is committed to making you ready. And readiness requires refinement. There will be moments when you feel stretched, moments when you feel tested, moments when you do not understand why certain things are happening the way they are. But you must not interpret those moments as abandonment. They are preparation. God is not working against you. He is working within you. He is removing what is unnecessary. He is strengthening what is essential. He is shaping you into someone who can carry purpose without breaking under pressure. So when the process feels intense, do not withdraw, lean in. When the pressure increases, do not retreat. Stand firm. When the path feels uncertain, do not stop. Keep walking, because every step you take in obedience is building something unseen, something that will reveal itself at the right time. You must also understand the power of alignment. When your life aligns with the will of God, things begin to shift in ways that cannot be explained by logic alone. Doors open without force. Connections form without manipulation. Opportunities arise without struggle, not because life becomes effortless, but because you are no longer moving against your purpose. You are moving with it. And when you move with purpose, you move with power. But alignment requires surrender. You cannot hold on to control and expect to walk fully in what God has planned. You cannot insist on your way and expect to experience His way. At some point, You must release your grip on how you think things should happen and trust that God knows better than you, that His vision is clearer, that His timing is precise, that His plan is not just good, it is perfect. Surrender is not weakness. It is strength under trust. It is the decision to say, God, I will follow even when I do not see everything. I will trust even when I do not understand everything. I will obey even when it costs me something. And that kind of surrender unlocks a level of peace and clarity that cannot be achieved any other way. Because when you stop fighting the will of God, you start flowing in it. And there is something else you must grasp deeply. Your life is not just about you. The purpose God has placed within you is connected to others. There are people who will be impacted by your obedience. There are lives that will be changed because you chose to respond. There are doors that will open for others because you walk through yours. And if you delay, if you hesitate, if you shrink back, it is not only your life that is affected, it is every life connected to your purpose. This is bigger than you. Your obedience carries influence. Your courage creates pathways. Your faith sets an example. And whether you realize it or not, people are watching. They may not say it, they may not show it, but your life speaks. Your decisions speak. Your actions speak. So what is your life saying? Is it speaking fear or faith? Is it speaking hesitation or obedience? Is it speaking doubt or trust in God? You are writing a message with your life every single day. And God is calling you to write a message of strength, of conviction, of unwavering trust in Him. Do not underestimate the impact of a life fully surrendered to God. It is powerful. It is transformative. It is unstoppable. Not because of the person, but because of the God they trust. And that is who you are being called to become. Not someone who lives halfway committed. Not someone who moves only when it is comfortable. Not someone who follows only when it is easy. But someone who stands firm in faith, who moves in obedience, who trusts God without compromise. This is your moment to decide. Will you continue as you have been, or will you rise into what God is calling you to be? Will you remain where it is familiar, or will you step into what is purposeful? Will you listen and walk away unchanged, or will you respond and allow this moment to mark the beginning of a new direction in your life? Because moments like this do not come endlessly. There are times when God calls with urgency, times when He speaks with clarity, times when He opens a window of decision. And what you do in those moments determines what comes next. This is that moment. Feel the weight of it. Recognize the importance of it. Respond to the call within it. God is not asking for perfection. He is asking for obedience. He is not demanding that you have everything figured out. He is asking that you trust Him enough to take the next step. He is not waiting for you to become fearless. He is waiting for you to move despite fear. And when you do, you will discover something that will change everything. That God was already ahead of you, preparing the way, making paths where you saw none, placing strength within you that you did not know you had. So rise with conviction, move with purpose, trust with certainty, and let your life become a reflection of what happens when someone stops resisting the call of God and starts walking fully in it. And now you stand at the edge of a decision that will echo through the rest of your life. Not a small decision, not a temporary choice, but a defining moment between who you have been and who God is calling you to become. You have heard the truth. You have felt the weight of it pressing on your spirit. deep within, that this is not something you can ignore and walk away from unchanged. God has spoken, and when God speaks, a response is required. So I ask you, what will you do with this moment? Will you return to what is comfortable, even though you know it is keeping you small? Will you go back to the habits, the thoughts, the patterns that have delayed your growth? Or will you rise with boldness and conviction and say, from this moment forward, I will no longer resist the call of God. I will no longer shrink back. I will no longer delay what I know I must do. Because this is where everything changes, not in what you feel, but in what you decide. Let this be the moment you draw a line within yourself. Let this be the moment you break every silent agreement you made with fear, with doubt, with limitation. Let this be the moment you stand firm and declare that your life will no longer be guided by uncertainty, but by trust in God. Not partial trust, not conditional trust, complete unwavering trust. You do not need another sign. You do not need another confirmation. You do not need perfect conditions. You have already been given what you need: the call, the awareness, the stirring within your spirit. And now, the only thing left is your obedience. God is closer than you think. He is not distant from your struggle. He is not unaware of your fears. He sees you fully, knows you completely, and still calls you forward with purpose and intention. There is mercy in His call, but there is also urgency. There is love in His voice, but there is also command. And that combination is not meant to comfort you into stillness. It is meant to move you into action. So examine your life with honesty. Look at where you are, not with judgment, but with clarity. Ask yourself where you have been holding back, where you have been hesitating, where you have been choosing ease over obedience, and then make a decision that honors the truth you now carry. Release what is holding you back. Step away from what is draining your spirit. Let go of the need to control every outcome. And step forward, not with arrogance, but with faith, not with fear, but with trust in God. You may not see the full path, but you do not need to. God sees it, and that is enough. You may not feel fully ready, but readiness is not what God requires. He requires willingness. A willing heart can be strengthened. A willing spirit can be guided. A willing life can be transformed. And that is who you must become in this moment. Someone willing. Willing to change. Willing to grow. Willing to obey. Willing to trust God beyond what is familiar, beyond what is comfortable, beyond what feels safe. Because on the other side of that willingness is a life that is aligned, purposeful, and filled with a strength that cannot be shaken by circumstances. Do not let this moment pass like every other moment. Do not let these words fade without action. Let them settle within you. Let them challenge you. Let them awaken something that refuses to go back to sleep. Stand up within yourself. Rise in your spirit. Make the decision that you have delayed for too long, and move with faith, move with courage, move with the certainty that God is with you, guiding you, strengthening you, and preparing the way before you. And as you take that step, know this with absolute conviction: you are not alone, you are not forgotten, and you are not without purpose. God has called you, and His call upon your life is greater than any fear that has tried to silence you. So walk forward with that truth burning in your heart. Let it shape your actions. Let it define your choices. Let it become the foundation upon which you build everything from this day on. And never again allow yourself to live beneath what God has placed within you.